The song Sunday Morning.
Yep.
By Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes.
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 Babos.
Yes. Are we recording now?
Yes. I had something stuck in my throat. I think I got most of it out, though.
Oh.
But I was, like, hacking up stuff during breakfast.
That's gross.
Yes.
Are you okay?
I think so.
Did you drink some water?
Yes, I did.
It's disgusting, isn't it?
It is. I hate it.
A thing that happened to me in the store once.
Oh, that's not fun.
That is gross. And I'm like, ugh, and it was disgusting because it was coming right out. I'm like, that's gross. Ugh.
I remember I got mono later in life.
Poor thing.
And,
Yeah.
Anyways, I was with this girl. It was a whole thing.
Yes,
This was before the days of Alana Jaylo.
Yes.
And at the time, I used to do this work for a radio station, and I would do this interview program.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we would record them in batches, so I could go like a couple months without doing them.
Mm-hmm.
I had mono for about 6 weeks before I had to go in and do some more recordings.
Ew.
And I remember just feeling horrible during the recording process.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
So you were just getting back to doing your thing in the studio?
Kind of. I did a couple episodes, and I was just like, I made it through, but I knew I was out of it.
Can I ask how they tested you for that?
I was on a friend's podcast.
Uh-huh.
She knew somebody who was looking for a radio host for this company they were launching.
Yeah.
And she played them the tape of me on her show and recommended me.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm. That's how I've got a lot of stuff, is through friends.
Very good. I think you you have one of those voices, Bubs. I mean it. I know people that have DJ voices, and you're one of them, I think. You really have a voice for radio. And I'm not just saying that because, we're together. Yeah. I actually mean it.
I thought about reaching out to somebody at the ACB because they have a lot of audio streams. I
had this fantasy, I guess, if I ever worked at a radio station. I would love to do like a love songs and dedication show. I think it'd be really fun.
I would want to do kind of what Fidel Rodriguez did with Divine Forces Radio, where it's like a mix of hip hop and politics.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. So I talk about different leftist causes that are maybe under the radar, and then I'd play you some Immortal Technique songs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Now I think it's out. Okay. The coughing is the third mic today. It's part of the program.
I hope it's not out on my on my stuff here.
Oh, I'm fine with that, babes. I'm leaving soon.
Hey.
I mean, I hope not either. Okay.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that, go do that in the bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
Just saying.
Jaylo.
Yes.
Breakfast is good. We woke up early this morning, around 7:36.
Something around there. Yeah.
We were both kind of awake before then, but that's when we decided to acknowledge each other.
Yeah.
We were
right. I like how you said that.
We were laying in bed, discussing life in general. Then we got up, took separate showers. And it was a good morning, I feel. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if you need to go into that much detail, but we did have some leftover pasta salad that we made on Friday night. We started eating it Saturday. It turned out super good. Yeah. The olive thing, that was my bad, but it turned out really good because the pickle just gave it a really good tang. Mm-hmm. But the next time I'm definitely going to have some olives.
You know what? I've been toying with the idea of doing, babes. Yes. And unfortunately, I don't know if there's an egg substitute that you could use in this recipe. Yeah. But I've been thinking about maybe making my own rigatoni. Like the noodles.
Well, Bubs, even if you don't eat eggs, you don't have to worry about cooking with them. Yeah. I mean, I still hold to what I said, and I still believe that you haven't had good eggs. Oh. But if you aren't ready to eat them, I don't think there's anything wrong with cooking with them because sometimes there are things that really do have to use eggs to rise. And give the noodles the consistency that it needs, right?
Would you eat pasta if I made the noodles?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Of course I would.
Nice.
But you have to try it first. Okay. Before you give it to me. You can't just give it to me and say, here. I haven't tried it yet, but... Right. You're gonna be my guinea pig? I don't want to be your guinea pig.
I've heard it's really good when you make them yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I've never made noodles myself. I've just bought noodles and cooked them, but not made them. I always wanted to know how to make ravioli.
I don't know. I don't think it's that hard. I think you need a pasta machine, though.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need one, but it makes it a lot easier.
Because I heard you have to make the dough or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a different kind of a dough.
Than pizza dough.
Right.
Like, I do my standard pizza dough for a lot of different things. Sometimes I'll make just typical bread with it, or...
That's good.
It's similar to the cinnamon roll dough, except I replace the water with whole milk.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Because it would give it a different consistency.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jaylo.
Yes.
Yesterday was exciting.
It was exciting.
We talked to a friend of mine.
Yeah. I think it went really well.
I do too.
I did.
Yes. This is somebody I've known since back in the day, like 2006. I remember the first time we met, it was on a rock climbing trip.
Cool.
I had just started at this blindness training center, like that Tuesday, because it was Memorial Day weekend. I came in on a Monday. We started classes on Tuesday, and I went rock climbing on Friday, and then that's when we kind of talked.
Was it rock climbing like a way for like a trip for the school, or was it like a way for people to get to know each other?
It's something that the center does.
That's a lot of fun.
And you'll do it, at least when I was there, every other Friday for a month. So you'll go twice, and then the second group will go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was scary the first time I did it.
Yeah.
But then I started to really like it once I got into rappelling.
Was it? Yeah, the rappelling part is a lot of fun.
It is.
It is definitely overwhelming when you're up there and you can't see how far down you are, and you have to push yourself off with your feet and your feet, right? And you're just you're at the mercy of the rope, and it's just it's scary after the scary the first time, but after a while it's like, okay, I can do this.
I enjoy doing it outside the most, but you could kind of do rock climbing inside.
Oh yeah,
it's not the same though.
In outside is different because you're not out in the open air.
No, you are when you're outside.
No. I meant inside is different.
Okay.
Because you're not out in the open air. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
So the first experience I had rappelling, I was 13 years old. I was still in Hawaii, and I was going to a summer camp for the blind. They thought about doing rappelling off of a mountain, but it sounded really, really scary. So they decided to do rappelling off of a tree, which I was totally okay with. And they had the ropes, and everybody had their harnesses on. And my counselor, who shall remain nameless, was the one in the tree that was helping with rappelling the kids down, and the other adults that were attending, because it was a camp for all ages. It really freaked me out because I got up all the way up to the tree, and then I was just freaking out, and I knew that I could trust her, but I was like, how in the world am I going to get down safely? And she told me where the brake hand was supposed to be, and then my hand that was supposed to be behind me. And I was supposed to push off with my feet and let the rope pull me down. And so I finally did, and I got down safely. And I'm like, you know what? That is all worth it. Just climbing all the way up there and then letting the rope take you down.
I've never rappelled off of a tree. I wasn't sure that was a thing that people did, but it sounds like a cool experience.
It was. I mean, it was definitely scary. I mean, I don't care what you're rappelling off of. It's still scary the first time. Whether it's a mountain, a wall, or just a tree just a tree there. But it was a good experience. I'm glad I had it. And then I went rock climbing a couple times in a place called REI. No, it wasn't REI. It was Stone Gardens. There was a place in Seattle called Stone Gardens. or at least somewhere in Washington. And I think we did the indoor rock climbing thing, and it was really fun. I think I made it up there once, and then I decided to go back down, and I didn't make it up the second time.
You died or what?
No, I just didn't. I decided to go back down.
Okay.
Yeah. My hands were slipping, and I was just afraid that I was going to... But it is kind of different because there are times where I would tell the person that I'm going to rest, and you're being held in the harness, right? And it's kind of interesting to rest in your harness in midair.
Yeah, it is.
It feels kind of cool, actually. And I'm surprised that it feels so cool.
I never liked that feeling of resting in the harness. It just felt weird to me.
Really?
Yeah. Some people dig it, though.
I don't mind it. I mean, I knew that it was holding me, and what was scary is, like, I had these weird ideas while climbing walls and thinking, what if this wall collapses? Mm-hmm. Mm. What if this wall collapses and I collapse with it and I fall backwards and die or something? Something really, really freaky like that. But resting in my harness is not a big deal to me.
Okay. I just don't like it, but it's not for everybody.
I don't know. It sounds better than being on a pendulum swing and...
Oh, that's fun.
Really?
That's a lot of fun.
That doesn't sound fun to me.
I was part of this adventure camp for blind people. I was a volunteer there. But they wanted people to participate in the events. So we go to this place in Washington, and you get on this like swing thing. Everybody lifts you up like 60 feet in the air, lets you go, and you go flying from side to side. It's a lot of fun. I'm so glad I did that.
And are you in like a swing?
Yeah, you're in like a swing thing, and you're harnessed up to make it extra safe. You got the helmet that's attached to the rope.
And they let you go quickly, or they let you go? Okay.
They lift you up as high as you wanted to go. In my case, I wanted to go as high as I could, which is like 65 feet, and then they just let go.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And then you swing down.
Then you swing side to side for a while.
Swing side to side.
And eventually the lady who is in charge of it will slowly start to tap your feet.
Oh.
And that kind of brings you back to earth a little bit.
Okay.
I had so much fun doing that.
Really?
Yes. But I'm not afraid of heights.
Okay. I'm not like deathly afraid of heights, but I'm afraid of heights if I can feel it.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
I hear you.
Because like especially if I'm not enclosed, I guess. If I'm outside and I know that I'm high up and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fall, I can feel it, and I'm out in the open air. That scares me. Wow. But I'm not like deathly afraid of it. It does scare me a little bit if I feel it. If that makes any sense.
I hear you. I feel safe as far as heights go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But sitting in that harness, just resting is not a big deal.
Maybe because I'm a man, but I always feel the pressure on my nuts. So
that's putting it lightly. Yes. Yeah. We don't have that problem.
I want to keep the guys protected.
You want to keep your little friends intact, right?
Yes.
Your little friends must not be broken.
I don't want one to pop out or anything.
Ew.
Yeah. That's not my goal in life.
No.
It sounds very, very painful.
That sounds a lot painful.
Yes.
Let's not talk about that.
No, it's you. Whoa.
You're the one who brought it up.
Uh-oh. Jaylo.
Yes.
I said something yesterday that was incorrect. Mm-hmm. And who knows, maybe I was on something, but probably I just remembered it incorrectly.
Yeah.
We started watching the 10-part series finale of DS9 yesterday, and I thought it was a 4-part episode.
Oh, that's
for whatever reason in my own head.
That's okay.
Yeah, we're now in the middle of the finale. I mean, it's a long one, but...
Yeah, wow. It's a long finale, but it's really good.
Yes. Do you want to wrap up what we saw yesterday, or would you like me to?
Why don't you give an overview of the last episode we saw? Because
feel free to chime in on this, too.
I will. Okay.
Worf and Dax, now known as Ezri, are on the Breen ship. They're thinking about ways to escape. They can't really do it.
And they were captured, correct?
Yes, they were captured when they crash landed on that planet. They were free for a little while, long enough to sleep together. Yeah. But after that, the Breen came and snatched them up.
Right, exactly, yeah.
At one point, Worf is taken to this torture chamber, then sent back, and he's having these weird dreams.
Having some PTSD stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The same thing happens to Ezri, and she starts talking about Dr. Bashir.
Yeah, she starts saying his name and all these other things.
Which Worf does not take kindly to.
Right, and I was trying to understand that, and you explained to me that.
Yeah, that he still has these emotions. He doesn't know what to do because Jadzia is still there, but she's not. Right. It's difficult to deal with. You know.
I would not want to be a Trill.
No, it seems very confusing. Yeah. Because you have all these past memories, but you're still your own individual person. Uh-huh. And that's why most hosts go through years of training before they can take a symbiont. And
Ezri did not. No. At all. Not even a little bit.
No. So that's going on with them. The Cardassians who are running stuff with the shapeshifter lady, mainly Damar, decide to take a ship. And we don't know what they're going to do at first, but they leave on the ship. They're going. Mm-hmm. And before that happens, though, Damar hangs out with Gul Dukat one last time, who now looks like a Bajoran.
Which is very strange.
Mm-hmm. Basically wishes him luck on his journey, and they part ways as, I guess, allies. Maybe friends would be too strong of a word.
Yeah, allies would be better.
Yes. I'm going a little bit out of order just because
it's a lot of stuff. Yeah. A lot of stuff in there. Don't worry, I'm just putting on lavender oil.
Okay. At the beginning of the episode, we have Cisco still dealing with the fact that the prophets don't want him to get married. Mm-hmm. He's hanging out in his quarters, and your old buddy Kai Wynn goes to see him.
She's not my buddy.
Okay. You two exchange Christmas cards. I know that.
I don't think she understands what Christmas is.
She's like, "Greetings, my child." No.
Greetings, my Jaylo.
My Jaylo.
My Jaylo child.
Cisco had asked. Kai Wynn is such an arrogant bitch. Cisco had asked some other person to do the ceremony.
For lack of a better term, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And she says, I understand that you asked Vedic so-and-so to do this, to perform the wedding. Maybe you thought I was busy, but I could always make room for the emissary.
I had to laugh at that. Yeah. I had to laugh at it. I didn't see it as arrogance, but I mean, it is arrogance. It's definitely arrogance. But I had to laugh at it because it's funny. She's like inserting herself into
his wedding.
His wedding, and I had to laugh at it. I thought it was really funny. She's very arrogant.
She is.
She is a pompous person. Very pompous.
That's putting it nicely.
Yes, and that's how I do it.
They have this little exchange. She leaves and has this vision from the prophets. I get the sense that Kai Wynn has never had a vision before.
I get it too. And then she just finally has a vision. Yep. Isn't it odd? Mm-hmm. I don't even know if it was a true vision.
Well, you're going to have to keep on watching, Jay. Whoa.
Okay.
Goes to her quarters, and eventually Gul Dukat, who now looks like a Bajoran.
Who's now Anjo,
goes to her quarters and explains that he's like a humble farmer and he suffered all this famine.
I had to laugh at that too.
Yes. They talk, and, you know, since he's really Gul Dukat, he knows the right stuff to say. So he knows that Kai Wynn helped get these people out of dying at this prisoner camp when the Cardassians were running things. So he pretends that he was on a ship heading towards that camp. Mm-hmm. That way he establishes a connection with her. At one point, it's the middle of the night, she's asleep. Anjo wakes her up and says, my brother just planted this thing, and I forgot what it was. Uh-huh. But it's some weird Bajoran terminology. Yeah. And it started growing, but that's impossible. He only planted it last week, and it's already growing. It's to take a year. And she's like, oh, this is a miracle. Right. You got to stay with me, all this good stuff. So that whole thing is going on. She's being manipulated.
And he knows a lot of stuff about her. Mm-hmm. like a lot of stuff about her.
Yeah, but he already knew the stuff about her because he had access to all of her files.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, we learn a few things about Kaiwen in this episode.
Her real name.
Which was?
I think it's like Adami or something.
That's right. Yeah. Very good.
Yes.
I was just making sure you knew, but I, of course,
Adami
win. Adami.
Okay.
But we also learned that she helped save some Bajoran lives. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, I guess you could assume is the case, but we never really know it until now. Mm-hmm. I think maybe she might have mentioned it to Kira once before.
Right. It's possible.
Yeah. In any event, that's going on. Cisco is still grappling with the fact that, what am I going to do? The prophets told me not to get married, and I should listen to them.
Yep.
At one point, he tells Cassidy Yates, listen, babe, marriage is off. Mm-hmm. I can't go against the prophets. She's upset. She's leaves.
Very upset, yeah.
Later on in the episode, he's kind of chilling in his quarters. Quark comes with the ring that Cisco asked him to get. And yes. Quark's like, this is non-refundable.
I thought that was funny.
But then before he leaves the captain's quarters, he says, it would be a shame if this ring would go unused.
Yep.
Near the end of the episode, a couple interesting things happen. One, Worf and Ezri are on the Breen ship. They're kind of arguing. Mm-hmm. And then we find out why the Dominion space shuttle or ship left Cardassia. Mm-hmm. And it was to make a peace treaty with the Breen. Mm. And the Breen is offering Worf and Ezri as a present to the Dominion.
So they are in alliance with the Dominion now?
Yes, they are.
Are they... were they a part of the war before?
No, they were always adversaries, but they never officially stated which side they fall in the war before now.
And they're not... Are they also with an alliance with the Jem'Hadar?
The Dominion are.
The Dominion are. Okay.
The Dominion control the Jem'Hadar.
Okay.
Because the Jem'Hadar, if you remember, are addicted to this... I said
white stuff.
Yeah, I said it Tetris white in one episode. That's not it. Or tetracycline. I always get the name wrong, but it's this white stuff.
Something white.
Yes. Yeah. So if you heard me say Tetris white before, just know that I can be an idiot when it comes to pronouncing
That's
stuff.
That's okay, Bubs. It's okay. Yes. I understand.
So they're now all against the Federation. I believe that's where the episode actually ends. Mm-hmm. But before we wrap up my synopsis, maybe we should concentrate on Cisco for a minute.
Yes, I thought this was really a great scene when he has decided that he is not going to follow the prophets, and he goes back to Cassidy and says, I want to marry you because I love you, and I'm not going to do what the prophets say.
They go the senior South minus Ezri
and Worf
are there. And of course Jake, Nog's hanging out. There's some nice words between Nog and Odo.
Yes.
The emissary gets married. While he's putting the ring on Cassidy Yates, he has another vision from Sarah.
Yep.
And he basically says, well, how do you know this? I got to live my life. And he continues on with the ceremony, even though he knows it's going to bring pain to him.
Yeah, but he was willing to risk it. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was great, actually.
To be continued.
To be continued.
Let's analyze this episode a little bit.
Okay.
You have read the Bible.
Yes, of course.
And the reason I bring it up in reference to Deep Space Nine is we've kind of had this discussion. The prophets in the wormhole aren't really gods.
Right.
But they're gods in the Star Trek universe, and we use them as a metaphor to talk about religion.
Okay, yeah.
At least in Deep Space Nine, that's how I see it.
Only in Deep Space Nine, yeah.
Right, but I mean, I've never told you that the prophets from the wormhole came to me. So
then I would really wonder about your your brain function there.
Right, but you could replace the wormhole prophets with like Jesus or Muhammad. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm curious, has there ever been a time in the Bible, I'm sure there has, so this is more of a rhetorical question,
right,
where somebody has had a vision from God or some sort of message. God was trying to tell them something and they completely ignored them. And Absolutely. If so, how did that go for them?
Oh, there is a very good example in the book of Jonah, because God was telling Jonah, I want you to preach in Nineveh. And if you know anything about Nineveh in the Bible, Nineveh is a very, very wicked city. And Noah is like, no, Lord, I want to go to Tarshish. So Tarshish was not the place that God wanted him to go. And because of his disobedience, he gets swallowed up by a whale. Yeah. And he was able to get out, but because of his disobedience, he got swallowed by a whale.
Since we've established that the prophets are a metaphor for religion in our world, what do you think this says about Cisco? And more specifically, what do you think this says about his future, that he's going against them?
That's really interesting because I don't know much about the prophets, but he is doing it willingly. He's willingly disobeying the prophets when, he's not heeding the warning of his prophet mother. And because he's not, he knows exactly, he knows what's going to happen even though he's willing to risk it. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
He doesn't. Right? He knows that there's doom.
He knows
ahead.
that he doesn't know exactly what's going to happen, but he knows that there's going to be trouble. Mm-hmm. But he's willing to risk it.
Well, let me rephrase it.
All right.
Knowing that the prophets are against the marriage.
Yeah.
Do you think DS9 ends well for Cisco?
I don't know. It could end well if he says... It could end well if something happens and, I don't know, like they're no longer married or whatever it is, or what have you. Or it could be that, well, I married Cassidy, but I don't regret it even though I know that there's going to be trouble ahead. I would do it again. I don't know. I can't say because I didn't watch all of it.
So no, but I'm wondering what you think of where we are.
It could go either way. It could end well or it could end horribly.
I'm actually very curious to get your thoughts once you see how this series wraps up the Cisco plotline.
Uh-oh.
But we'll get there when we get there.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
To me, the most religious main character on DS9 is Kira.
Yes.
Who is coincidentally the one who is least happy to be at the wedding.
Oh.
Because there's a scene where Odo's talking to her and he basically says, you're the one who's always telling me to smile. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, the prophets are against this wedding.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm. So that's why she isn't smiling.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't even realize that.
Kira has always been this weird dichotomy.
Yes.
So kill people and be unapologetic about it. But yet she's also...
very religious.
Yes, he's very religious. And I'm wondering, do you think that in real life the two can coexist? The ability to be really mean to people and just like bomb buildings like she has done in the past and also be religious.
I don't think so. No, there is no excuse for that. It's like it's either you are a terrorist or you're not. That's how I see it.
Okay.
I don't think there can be room for two.
I know that the creators of DS9 and Nana Visitor have said that they could not do the character the same way if the show had started after 9/11.
I understand that.
And I believe them.
I totally get that. Mm-hmm. Because this is before we even knew about terrorists.
Not exactly.
I mean, how should I phrase that? This is before... It's not, it didn't really hit home for us, I guess.
That's
what I meant to say.
Nice. What do you think of Cassidy Yates now that you've spent some time with her?
I do like her. I do like her a lot. I have this sense, and maybe I'm wrong, but I have this sense that she still hasn't figured Benjamin out yet. If that makes any sense.
Could you ever figure him out? He's so complex.
He is so complex. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. But I feel that she's gone through a lot, because remember when she was in prison?
Yes.
For being what was she doing? She was a freight.
She was a freight captain, and she was running medical supplies to the Maquis, who are the Federation's enemies. Right.
And she went through a lot with that, and she had to spend time in prison because that was her punishment. Mm-hmm. But I think that now that she's out of there and she wants to spend her life with Benjamin, I think she's still, even now that they've gotten married, that she's still trying to figure him out. But I do like her.
What does Benjamin Cisco teach us about forgiveness? I'm thinking specifically about Cassidy.
Oh, okay. I think that because of how much he loved Cassidy, he was quick to forgive her anyway, even though she did that for the Maquis. And I think that he thought her to still be innocent, even though she did that for the Maquis, and she wasn't doing it on, she wasn't like, how do I say this?
She wasn't running weapons. She was running medical supplies.
Right. It wasn't like she was trying to do harm to the Federation. And I think that he was willing to forgive her for that and to let bygones be bygones.
We know that the Federation has always been uneasy with having a commanding officer of a space station around Bajor also being considered a spiritual prophet to the people of Bajor.
Yep.
And I guess I'm curious. There's that aspect. And there's also, now he's married to somebody who helped their enemy. Now, she did it in the most kind way possible, but she still edited the other, I guess you could say. Do you think that at some point Benjamin will have to leave Starfleet?
It's possible. I mean, that would be different, but it is possible.
I mean, I know the answer, so it's weird for me to throw these questions out there.
Yeah.
But let me rephrase the question.
All right.
How do you think the higher-ups at the Federation look at Cisco? Because he's married to somebody who helped the enemy.
And he's supposed to be the emissary. I would imagine that they're happy for him. They're happy for him to a point. Maybe some of them are thinking, well, how can you marry this woman? She was supplying medical supplies to our enemies. I don't know how you could do that. I don't know. I think maybe they're a little bit perplexed about it.
Okay.
Some. Maybe not all, but some.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
Yeah, it's perplexing. Yeah.
What do you think of Damar so far?
I really don't know what to think about Damar. I still kind of think he's an enemy of the Federation.
I would tell you this. Damar has a bigger role in a bunch of episodes coming up.
Really?
And I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I want to get your thoughts on him now, so it's sort of like out there.
Because I don't really, I can't put my finger on him. I don't know what to think about him, because he is, him and Wei Yun don't get along, right?
Right.
And Damar was like chums with Dukat.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to think about him. I don't know if I like him. I don't know if I don't like him. I'm kind of like, I don't know what to think about this guy.
I'm curious to revisit the subject in a couple of weeks or whenever we finish up the series.
Yeah.
And see your final opinion on the characters. But some of them are like Damar and Garrick I'm interested in.
Yeah, because I haven't cemented my feelings towards Garrick or Damar yet. Mm-hmm. And as far as I know, I like Garrick, but that could change. I don't know. He's just so charming.
Yeah, but he's also the stab you in the back.
I know. He's charming, but he can cut you when you least expect it.
Yes, yes.
He can cut you down to size.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there anything else you wanted to say about this episode or characters you wanted to examine?
No.
Well, actually, I got one.
No.
Real quick.
Go on.
Quark.
Yes.
What do you think of him in this episode?
You mean when he gives
Well, he gives Cisco the ring, but he says that thing at the end. I mean, he's already getting his money, but he's like, it would be a shame to let that ring go to waste.
I don't know. That's an interesting thing what he said. I don't know how he feels about the whole emissary marrying a freighter captain to their enemies. I'm not sure what he thinks about that.
I believe Quark he's not an atheist, but he would be if it was a traditional show. Uh-huh. But he believes in the Ferengi way of life, so he doesn't really think of Cisco as the emissary. I mean, he will if it's for profit.
I think you're right. I think he wants to. Now that I think of it, maybe the reason why he wants him to use that ring is so he can get money from the wedding because he's a caterer.
True. Yeah, that's great advertising. You know what, babe? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, remember? He's a caterer.
And now you could say, well, I catered the wedding of the emissary. That's actually a great point. But
absolutely.
Because I was also thinking, well, he's also a romantic, and we know that about Quark, too.
He is a very... Yeah, after we saw... the one where he is reunited with his lost love.
Yes.
Which I thought that was a great episode.
I did too. I don't like a lot of Quark episodes, but that one killed it.
That really showed, and I've said this before, and I know I said this about that episode in particular, but it really showed that he had a lot of feeling. He had deep emotions for somebody other than himself.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how you would make it into a comedy, though, that episode.
I don't know, but I like that he didn't take it that route.
And I'm glad that who commented on that episode?
One of the writers.
It was good. It was really good. I thought it was great that they made it into a drama.
Yes. Well, the writers, I know we talked about this before, so I'll make it fast, wanted it to be a comedy and a takeoff of Casablanca until they saw the dailies of how Armin Shimmerman was playing the character. And he was playing it serious, even though they thought he would play it funny. And then they really thought it was more nuanced. And I'm so glad that he chose to go that route as an actor.
Yes.
So anything else you want to say about this episode?
No.
Yes.
No. It was. I liked it.
How does it feel to be watching the series finale?
It's crazy because I remember when we started it.
Yep.
I think it was around the time that I first moved in here.
It was.
And it kind of makes me think, wow, this is like this has been like if I were to, if Star Trek Deep Space Nine was like one long song, right? Mm-hmm. It's like the soundtrack of my life 8 or 9 months ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
I hear what you're saying. I more think of it as like a novel.
It's like a novel, yes.
Or a series of novels. Like you could take each season and say, it's a book.
Yeah.
And now we're on the final book. And we're in the last chapter.
I think of it as either a song or a bunch of songs or a novel.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, the album is almost over, or the book is almost over, right?
I could see that. It'll be interesting.
Yes. So it's bittersweet for me.
But we'll have other shows to watch.
But we will have other shows to watch. We still have TNG and the original series to go through.
And I do think before we watch Gone with the Wind, I want to explore the war with you, the Civil War documentary.
Explore the war.
Yes. So what do we want to watch after DS9? Because you've talked about TNG, but we've also discussed the war, and I do want to show you The Boys.
Yeah, I would That's a good... I have to think about that because we still have some time before it's over.
Yeah, we have a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I do want to get to Gone with the Wind because I've never seen it. I wanted to read it, but it was like...
It's super long.
9 volumes.
Yeah.
9 Braille volumes. And they're big, I heard.
My thought is, we still have time, is we watch Ken Burns' documentary, The War.
Yes.
Then we watch The Boys, and then maybe we go back to either the original series or TNG.
Okay.
Yes.
That can be a game plan.
Awesome, Jay Woos. Give me a kiss real quick.
Okay.
It's gonna be my first time kissing anybody.
What?
Yeah.
No, wait a second. That's not true.
Oh, it isn't?
No, you kissed me before that.
Uh-oh.
Yesterday.
Well, then this is my second time kissing somebody, Jaylo.
Oh, goodness. And you've done that on other episodes.
Oh, very good.
Very good, yes. I caught you, Bubs. I caught you.
Oh, I had to sit up because my arm was starting to hurt. Don't you hate when that happens?
Yes.
Yes.
You have to do some extending.
Yes.
Yes.
Jaylo.
Yes.
We continued our Juliette Lewis weekends.
Yes.
Which is weird because the first film we watched last night was Basketball Diaries.
Yes.
A movie that I last saw in March of 1998.
That's a long time ago.
I'd seen it multiple times, but it had been a while. Maybe 3 or 4 times I'd watched it before.
Okay, and I think this is the first time I watched the whole thing because I remember watching the beginning, and I may have watched bits and pieces, but. And
I told you, Juliette Lewis is in there, but I don't remember seeing her in the film. Well, maybe that's because she's only in 3 scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah,
and she's not really pivotal.
Yeah.
So in a way, maybe we gave Juliette Lewis short shrift. Because the second film we watched, she's not the main character.
But she definitely has a big role in the movie.
Yes. Let's start with Basketball Diaries. Do you want me to give the overview, or would you like to?
Why don't you do that?
All right, I'll try to make this somewhat fast.
Okay.
It's based on the book Basketball Diaries, which is semi-autobiographical, written by Jim Carroll. I'm sure they changed some stuff up for the movie. I like the film better than the book. But anyways. Starts off, Jim is a student at this Catholic school. And the thing he really excels at is basketball. He's very good at that. It's based in the 1960s. The first scene we see is him waking up in the morning and some lady in the building across from him, so he can see into her window, is screaming about God and Jesus. But
then she's swearing too, and she's like, it's like she's possessed or something. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Hey, lady, shut up!" And I remember that part very well.
Yeah,
it kind of freaked me out.
We see a whole bunch of different things. He's hanging out with his friends. One of them is Mark Wahlberg. They're doing really well as a basketball team. And I'm going to be skipping around a little bit. So at the end,
it's a lot in the movie.
Yeah, you can add or subtract whatever you want to. But they're doing well. There's one scene near the beginning of the movie where they're signing the ball for this kid whose name is Bobby. And he's in the hospital because he's going through leukemia. And Bobby was really good friends with Jim. Mm-hmm. They were super, super tight. The coach, Swifty, also signs the ball. And Swifty is kind of like the poor man's Joe Pesci. He sounds like Joe Pesci. Yeah. But he's not Joe Pesci. No, he's a little bit taller. Okay. But I seriously thought he was. I could see why you would think that. Yes. Because their voices are very similar. Yes. At one point after the game, Swifty takes them out for burgers, and the kids overcharge. Swifty leaves because the other team wants to beat them up because they stole one of the kids stole something from their while the game was going on. Yep. Somebody in Jim's crew went back and robbed from the lockers. Yep. They beat the kids up from the other team. And then they go to this area where they're about to jump into the river. Yeah. Two of the guys already went. Jim is about to do this with a friend of his. And he says, "Hey, after this, I got a surprise, but it's kind of just for the two of us." Mm-hmm. Later on that night, they go and meet Blinky and Winky. The two sisters, yep. Who are both blonde teenage girls. Yep. They have sex with them. They have a good time.
And they also shot up together.
They didn't shoot up together.
They didn't?
They snorted.
Okay.
I think it was probably cocaine and not heroin, but I could be wrong.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Why don't you know I didn't see it? Okay.
Okay. But we do find out in the movie that Jim started off as a casual user of heroin. Mm-hmm. And eventually his habit started to grow and grow and grow.
And he was willing to do anything, almost pretty much anything to get $5, $15, $20 to get his fix.
Yes.
Anything, including running into prostitutes. And, and I think I'm skipping. I'm sorry.
You're skipping ahead. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's right. At one point, Jim is kind of sick, and he's playing basketball. He goes back to the locker room. He's in the shower. He takes something out of his sock. I don't think it's heroin, but it's something that is similar. We'll mimic it.
Right.
Long enough for him to get through the day. He snorts something, then Smitty walks in. Swifty walks in.
Yes.
Says, hey, I just wanted to talk to you. Were you trying to send signals to me out there?
And then he starts giving him money.
Yeah, Leonardo Dicaprio shocked at this. Swifty pulls out some cash and then tries to grab his crotch. Mm-hmm. And there's this weird exchange. Swifty walks away.
He's trying to proposition him because he knows his problem.
Yeah,
and he's like, if you don't say anything, I'm not going to tell anybody about your problem.
Swifty's Catholic too, so
yes,
that explains it.
Oh, jeez.
In any event.
And I thought the other person... Anyway.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. Near the beginning of the movie, there's this preacher who's kind of like...
priest, yeah.
Priest who's spanking Jim with this, like, wooden thing.
It sounds loud, too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And Alana thought, oh, this is going to be the creep guy.
I thought so, too, yeah. But it ended up being Swifty, the basketball coach.
Yeah. Who knows? The priest may have gotten with other kids, but not... Leonardo
okay, let's go on.
I don't know that for sure, and this is a movie.
Let's move on now.
Okay, Jaylo, let's move on. The heroin problem gets out of control. There's another game that they're about to play where the guys are jonesing for some good stuff. Mm-hmm. One of the friends buys these pills, again to mimic heroin. They're not sure which ones to take.
They don't know if it's the blacks or reds.
Yeah, eventually Jim's just like, okay, we got to do something. I'm taking the blacks.
Yep.
And you guys can either join me or not. They take it, except for his friend Neutron.
Yeah.
He's like, hey guys, we got to be careful here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because we're supposed to play a game. Yeah.
They go out into the field and they are strung out, do horribly.
Yes, they lose the game.
The lockers are searched and they find the drugs.
Yep. Drug bust.
Basically, Mark Wahlberg's character... their other friend and Leonardo DiCaprio walk out on the school and say, we're never coming back.
And Neutron stays behind.
Yes, and they believe, whether or not it's true, that Neutron narked on them.
Oh, that he told on them?
Yes, that's their belief in them.
Right.
I can't vouch for that. I wasn't there.
I don't think he did.
Okay.
But anyway. Right.
So now their life is a downward spiral. Jim gets kicked out of his mother's place.
Yep.
He's roaming the streets. He's hustling. At one point, they steal this car because they're going to sell it to Mark Wahlberg's brother, but the car gets towed.
Yeah.
So his brother breaks Mark Wahlberg's hand.
Yep.
They break into this diner, and their friend
take all the shoot out of the place. They take all They take all the utensils and...
Well, they try to take money.
Oh, they take money.
And one of their friends is so high, he just lays her on the floor as the cops come in.
Yep.
They're staying at this flop house with Kate from Dusk Till Dawn, Juliette Lewis.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Life is not going too well for them.
Exactly.
Eventually, Mr. DiCaprio...
Yes.
falls down on the ground in the snow.
And somebody finds him and rescues him.
We should say that they had a history. This guy was one of his neighbors, and they used to play one-on-one basketball together.
Yep.
His name is Reggie. We don't know his whole backstory, but we do know that there was drug addiction in his past, and somebody helped him.
Yeah, he's a huge guy.
Huge guy. A very no-nonsense. Mm-hmm. But he sees something in Dicaprio. He takes him in, and he basically holds him there so he can kind of like get the junk out of his system.
Right, right.
At one point, Reggie has to go somewhere, and Leonardo DiCaprio decides to escape. Mm-hmm. He hits the street. We see Juliette Lewis one last time.
She gives him 20 cents.
Yeah.
Not $20.
20 cents. He starts yelling at her.
Yep.
He eventually gets a blowjob from some guy and for money. Mm. Right. And he ends up back at his mom's house. Jim is trying to get into the door. There's this great scene that I never forgot where the mom kind of opens the door, but because of the lock, he's trying to push his way in, but he can't. Yeah. And she's crying on the other end. She eventually slams it shut and calls the police.
Hold on a second.
Tell me.
You're missing a part.
Tell me.
Remember, she does let him in for a bit.
She doesn't.
No, because remember when... Wait, does she take his hand?
She takes his hand, but it's through the door.
Oh, I see.
See, that's the scene I was talking about.
Okay, anyway. So she does close the door on him and says to him, "I have no son," and calls the police and says there's some guy breaking into my apartment.
Yes. He gets arrested, spends 6 months in Rikers Island, decides to rehab, and I forgot something big in this movie.
Yes.
We're thinking about the guy who died, right?
Bobby, yes. He went to his funeral.
Yeah, Bobby was 16, but he looked like he was 60. Yeah. But I'm thinking about the other guy. With Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, yeah, that their other friend, right?
No. Okay, let's back up.
Okay.
Because I'm an idiot. I skipped over this part.
Okay.
And partially I'm doing this because I want people to see the movie.
Right.
And by me throwing them off, it creates more anticipation.
Right. Uh-huh. Okay.
So, one night before Jim sees his mom, him and his buddy, Mark Wahlberg, I think his name is Pedro in the movie?
Yeah, Pedro, yeah.
Are roaming the streets trying to get some dope.
Yep.
This guy screws him out of drugs. Pedro and Jim start chasing him.
Yep.
They run up into the top of this building, and the guy is running from Pedro, who has a gun on him, and he falls backwards off of the building and dies.
But wait, no, that was Mickey. That wasn't Pedro. That was Mickey.
Okay, you said his name was Pedro.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Pedro was the one who heard about it. He wasn't there.
Okay.
Mickey was with them.
When I said, wasn't Mark Wahlberg's name Pedro? And you're like,
no,
yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was Mickey. I'm sorry.
Replace the name Pedro with Mickey.
Yeah.
Let me tell the story again real fast.
Pedro, yes.
Mickey and Jim get screwed out of some dope. They chase the guy, go up to a roof of this building. Mickey holds a gun on him. He goes backward off of the building and dies.
Yeah.
Yes. It was really powerful.
It was terrible.
Actually, I'll tell more powerful scenes when we discuss the characters.
Okay.
Because another one just came to mind. But I'll save that for later because we're almost at the end of this.
All right.
Okay. Gets arrested, goes to Rikers, rehabs, sees Pedro, who is not Mark Wahlberg.
No.
But Pedro is still on drugs. He says that Mickey is serving 5 to 15 in prison.
For the what happened to that guy.
Yeah. Yep. And Pedro offers to hook Leonardo DiCaprio up with some drugs. He says no, he's got this thing. And then we see him telling about these different types of drug addicts. You have your rich ones, you have your poor ones, you have your middle class drug addicts.
Yep.
Then we hear an applause, and we see that he's doing this at a poetry reading. Mm-hmm. And that's basically the end of the movie.
It was very good.
Yes. So, what would you rate this film?
Oh, I told you I was going to rate it a 7.
You told me that before we did this.
Yes, I know. But I still rated a 7.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a hard movie to watch.
Yeah, but I ask you because I want people to know what you think.
No, I rated a 7.
Okay.
It was a very hard movie to watch. And that's... So, it was harder to watch than The People versus Larry Flint.
I would agree.
Because there's more disturbing stuff in there. I mean, a lot. But that's why I rated a 7. I don't know if I will watch it over and over again, but I will give it at least a 7.
We don't see Jim's dad in this movie.
No, we don't know where he is.
And I'm wondering what this film says about how the lack of a 2-family home can lead somebody to drug use?
It says a lot.
Tell me.
It says a lot.
Give me your thoughts.
I think that would, because especially with males, right? Mm-hmm. Daughters need fathers, but sons need fathers even more because fathers are going to be the single most important influence in a son's life. And the fact that his mother was the only one that was taking care of him, he didn't have a father that would give him discipline and structure in his life. And he, because his mother tried to do the best that she could. And it sounded to me like he didn't have a lot of role models to look up to.
His mother also seems a bit nutty.
Does she?
To me.
Okay.
I mean, she's trying her best, but she's not completely with it, I don't think.
Well, maybe she isn't.
I also want to ask you, what does this film say about having bad role models? Because I'm specifically thinking about his relationship with Swifty.
Oh, that's terrible, yeah. Because it really makes you think, like, Swifty is supposed to be his basketball coach, and he loved basketball. But he loved it, Swifty took advantage of his power over Jim. He could have really hurt Jim. And what kind of an impact did that single thing that Swifty tried to do? What kind of an impact was that on Jim and the rest of how did he think about looking up to men?
There is a powerful scene in this movie that I forgot to mention. Mm-hmm. It's after Mickey, Jim, and Pedro try to rob the diner, and Pedro is left behind to deal with the cops. Right. Mickey and Jim go into this other diner, and on the TV is a game that they would have played at.
Right, and Neutron, I think it was, right? Yep. He's saying hi to his mom.
I'm wondering what this film teaches us about lost opportunities.
Well, it's so sad. It's so sad to see because they could have been so great at basketball. They could have gone to the NBA, right?
It's possible.
They could have, but then they gave it up for drugs. They gave it up for getting high all the time. They dropped out of school. They could have made something of themselves, and they didn't take that opportunity to do that. Especially Jim, because Jim was a really good basketball player.
But he also reforms his life. He ends up putting out books of poetry and albums.
He does.
What do you think? Do you think that maybe sometimes in life we screw up so we can learn the lesson and take other opportunities? You know what I mean? Like maybe it would have been cool if he would have been a basketball star, but it wouldn't have been his life's path.
Well, some would say, I would think that recovering addicts would say, I'm glad I went through this because now I appreciate being sober. Now I know what it's like to really be sober, and I can turn my life around even though I went through it. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, initially he shouldn't have done it, but I would imagine that looking back on his life, when Jim Carroll thought about his life, he probably thought, well, I made some big mistakes, but I'm glad that I learned from these mistakes.
So you don't think it was his life's... He was sent here to this planet to become a basketball star?
I don't know what his purpose was.
Oh.
It may not have been that. So I couldn't tell you that.
Oh.
I can't determine one's purpose.
Well, good. There was a scene that I thought was funny that you called sacrilegious, where he's swearing in the confession booth.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty sacrilegious.
Why? Because you're not a Catholic.
I know, but being that you're in a church and you're supposed to be. I know that I'm not a Catholic, and I'm putting aside my thoughts about Catholicism. If you are in a church and you're supposed to be, talking about, your past sins to somebody. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's a priest or whoever it is, a person in the congregation. I thought it was very sacrilegious, and I thought it was disrespectful, but that's just me, Bubs.
That's interesting. So let me take this a step further. Let's say somebody goes into a synagogue and they're talking to a rabbi and they start swearing. Would you consider that to be sacrilegious?
Of course I would.
Okay, interesting.
Yes, I would.
Wow. Okay. Because it's a different type of God. It's not the God that you believe in.
Well, it's I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you don't believe in the Catholic idea of Jesus.
No.
And in the movie, they're in a Catholic church.
No, I understand.
And the example I gave you of a synagogue, you don't believe in the Jewish idea.
No. But I'm just saying, if you are in a place like that, because there's a time and a place for everything. I mean, I could talk from a Christian perspective and say that you shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff at church.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's say that one day I decide I'm going to believe in the same God as Jaylo. But I'm still Rick.
Okay.
So then I go into like a Catholic church and I start, going to the confessional and swearing. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it's cool because this is a different God and this isn't the real God. When I die, will God punish me for being sacrilegious for doing
that? I don't know. Oh. Or maybe you would be punishing yourself.
Oh.
Have you thought about that?
Well, I've heard some people say that it's not that you're punished for sins, but it's that sins punish you because you're like putting out this negative energy to yourself, if that makes any sense. It's not that God punishes you for your sins, but you punish yourself for your sins.
You send yourself there. You put it on yourself. If God has forgiven you for your sins, then why should you stay in your sins? That's what I would ask. Because you are punishing yourself. Because in the Bible it talks about being a slave to sin, right? If you are a slave to sin, your sins, you are in bondage to them. So why not be free of them? But this is not a Bible discussion, so we're not going to go there. Anyway.
We'll do that in a week or two.
Or right.
Jaylo loves Jesus coming soon.
Oh my goodness.
Jaylo loves Jesus.
Oh goodness.
In some way, I feel that we did Juliette Lewis injustice with this movie. Because, and I blame me for this. Mm-hmm. The original plan was we were going to watch Natural Born Killers instead of this.
I know, but I decided I don't.
Right, but I also could have just said, "Oh, it's not as violent as everybody thinks it is," even though it's way more violent than From Dusk Till Dawn, and let you see it and be pissed off. But instead, I was honest and said, "Oh, let's replace her with the Basketball Diaries. I see that she's in it, even though I don't remember her." And now I completely get why I didn't recall her. Because she's barely in it.
That's okay.
We've talked about watching Natural Born Killers sometime in the future. Do you think in conjunction with that, we should do a second Juliette Lewis weekend? Not right away, but maybe in a month or two.
Possibly.
To give her the acclaim that she needs.
Possibly, yes.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel that we did her right by watching this film?
I think so. I mean, I would have liked to have seen her more in the film because she was just one of the people that was in his life.
Yeah.
For however long she was in there.
What do Winky and Blinky teach us about controlled rebellion?
That's what do you mean by controlled? Oh, you mean like how they were taking advantage of their father by using his place as a place to party when he was gone?
Yes. And then they pretend like they don't know Jim when he comes back.
I think it's interesting. I think it shows that, some parents really are clueless as to what their kids are doing. Right? Because it seems to me like maybe their father wasn't just did not know how to keep track of his daughters. Or maybe in his head, his daughters were angels and they could never do anything wrong. And so he let them, he left them to their own devices. Does that make any sense?
It does. Do you think that they're good kids who occasionally act like rebels, or are they secretly bad kids?
I think that they're secretly rebelling against if their father had any rules, I would imagine that they're rebelling against him when he's not there, and he just doesn't know it.
Let me rephrase it. They're definitely doing that.
Yeah.
But in their heart of hearts, are they bad people, or who act good just to act good, or are they good people who occasionally do bad things?
I don't know how to say this. It's possible that they're good kids, but they rebel when they get the chance. If that makes any sense?
I hear you.
And I think I should go back and explain the whole sacrilegious thing.
Go ahead.
It isn't the fact that that he's in a Catholic church or he would have been in a synagogue. I think it's another example of mocking religion, and I never thought it was funny.
Even if you're mocking a religion that you don't believe in, you don't think it's funny.
It's not so much the religion that I'm upset about. It's the act of... it's a disrespecting of God in general, even though I don't believe that priests have a direct... a priest can talk directly to God. I don't believe that. But the fact that they're in any church setting, doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter it doesn't even matter whether I agree with the religion or not. It's just that it's sacrilegious that this person would be saying these things in a church. That's what it is.
I don't want to get too far off the beaten path. But
no, I don't.
Let me take us off for a second.
I thought we were done talking about this.
You brought it back up again.
I know.
Okay. I thought we were done talking about
No, but I was done. I just wanted to know that one
I have
point.
a question about this.
Okay.
So the show South Park has made fun of Christianity, but it's also satired, obviously, Judaism. But I'm thinking in the context of this, the Church of Scientology, right?
Right.
You don't watch the show anyway. Even I think it's hit and miss, but sometimes I think when it hits really good.
Mm-hmm.
But if I told you, hey, Alana, there's this great episode where they completely trash the Church of Scientology, you would not want to watch it with me because you would consider that sacrilegious.
Well, okay. I don't know. It's kind of complicated because I don't even consider Scientology a church.
Right, but I'm saying
it's not a religion.
Do,
yeah.
Like, you could say, Catholicism.
I mean, it's one thing to make fun of Catholicism, right?
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, it's not so much the religion. I mean, people can make fun of religion, a religion, and it could be funny, right?
Yeah.
It's the fact that this kid was in a church doing that.
Okay, let me give you an... Go ahead.
And I don't know if I'm making my point. I don't know if I'm getting my point across.
Okay, let me throw out another example. I think I know what you're saying, and I just want to wrap it up to make sure I'm understanding it completely.
Okay.
I go into a mosque next week, and I go up to the imam who's running the ceremonies, and I just start saying, fuck, 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 and then I run out. You would consider that sacrilegious?
I think more of the place that you're doing it, not so much the person. I mean, I'm not a Muslim.
Yeah.
I don't support Islam, but the fact that you would do that is stupid.
But it's not just stupid, it's also sacrilegious in your opinion.
It's sacrilegious to go into any place that people would worship and do that, regardless of what religion it is. That's what I'm trying to say.
Wow.
Because you can make fun of Islam or Catholicism or Mormonism and it could be funny, right? But the fact that you would actually go into a place where people are worshiping and disrespect the worshipers, I don't think that's right.
That's sacrilegious, no matter what the religion is.
That's what I think.
And you think that God would judge you harshly for that? Or is it a sin of man, and it would just be like it's not that God would judge you harshly, but you would bring negativity upon yourself in this lifetime?
not so much the negativity stuff, but I think you would definitely be. I think you would definitely be held accountable for it. Oh. Because anyway, I don't want to get into that anymore. It seems a little bit complicated.
We will revisit that at some point on Jaylo Loves Jesus, part 95.
What?
No, when we get there. No,
do you kind of get what I'm trying to say?
I kind of get what you're saying, but I find it. I see what you're saying, but it contradicts with me the idea of don't worship false gods, right? And if you're not supposed to worship false gods, then why would it be sacrilegious? It may be stupid, but why is it sacrilegious to
it would be more sacrilegious, for example, if I was a Christian and you were doing that to my God, right? Yeah. But I guess, I don't even know if the word is sacrilegious. More like... Disrespectful, I think. Maybe sacrilegious is the wrong word to say. It would be sacrilegious if you were doing it to somebody's, if you were disrespecting somebody's faith. But I think when it comes to being in a place of worship, that would be disrespectful.
Well, let's examine sacrilegious in faith. Okay. I have friends from a lot of different religions. I'm trying to think if I want to use a real
Because when I think of worshiping false gods, that could be anything.
Right.
That could be your TV. That could be in a statue of the Virgin Mary, right?
But I'm thinking of something that you would pray to and hold sacred. I understand what you're saying, but
right, exactly.
Okay, I have a friend of mine who is a pagan. Uh-huh. Let's say I start making fun of his faith. Is that sacrilegious? And I do it to his face.
Okay. It's hard to say because I do not ascribe to paganism. I don't know.
But that's the whole point of asking you.
I don't know because if I don't agree with the religion, I don't know that it would be sacrilegious to me. Oh. It might be sacrilegious to him, but it wouldn't be sacrilegious to me.
I don't think that anything's sacrilegious. Okay.
Of course you don't. Okay, can we move on?
Well, you were the one who brought us back.
I know, but I that was the only point I wanted to make, and you wanted to keep on going.
I wanted to touch on this again. Now let's move on. Okay, all right. Don't tickle me. Give me this. Hey, babes, they say tickle me with kisses.
Okay. How do you do that?
By kissing me. All right, so we've. I
have to say something about. Jim's mother. Okay. Because I told you this, but our viewers don't know what I said. I'm really glad that she was not enabling Jim. Because when she kicked him out of the house, she kicked him out of the house. Didn't let him back in. She wanted to help him so badly, but at the same time, she's like, nope, I have no son. Get out of my house. And then she calls the police.
If this was a Disney movie, she would have embraced him at the end and be like, all right, son, it's all going to be good, and I'm sorry I made you leave.
I'm more like a Hollywood movie. Right. I think she would have been the biggest enabler, but I'm glad she didn't do that because I think it was showing him that you can fool a lot of people, but you're not going to, I'm your mother, I'm not going to put up with your garbage.
This might be strong terminology because who can really determine what's best? So this might not be Leonardo DiCaprio's best performance, but it's my favorite performance of his. Because when most people think of him, they think of, oh, he's the pretty boy from Titanic or Jordan from The Wolf of Wall Street. Mm. And I think he's good in Titanic. Mm-hmm. And I
did not see The Wolf of Wall Street.
I like it. I think it's a good movie. It's not my favorite film.
Okay.
But as far as performances goes, this is my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio performance.
Do you think because he is a drug addict in the movie, he's completely vulnerable?
He's vulnerable, and it's good when actors do that. And it also, you got to take it into consideration at the time I saw it, he was this pretty boy actor, right? Uh-huh. And so, if I never saw this film, for years I would have just thought of him as that. Mm-hmm. And this film adds a new dimension to his filmography. Mm. Because I don't think he's done a role like this since.
Oh, right. Like, well, I heard that he was he was in The Aviator. Was that about...
I've seen it.
Was it Wilt Chamberlain? No.
No, it was about Howard Hughes.
Howard Hughes, I'm sorry, yeah.
So he's played drug addicts in other movies, but they're more the upper class drug addicts. Like Howard Hughes or Jordan, was it Belford? Or Belfast, I think?
I don't know, I didn't watch it. Bless you.
Thank you. Jordan from The Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
But this kid, Jim Carroll, the young version of him, is a lower class drug addict. Mm-hmm. And that's more interesting to me than somebody who can just do drugs whenever they want.
Right, because they have the money to buy it. Mm-hmm. And he called them dilettantes, I guess.
Where would you put this performance?
I don't... on your I'd say he was list? Very... I don't know. He was very good in this. But then I also like Titanic, so...
oh, he's way better in this than he is in Titanic.
Yeah, but you don't like Titanic.
I do. I think it's a good movie, but I think it's overhyped.
It's a chick flick. That's why.
I like some chick flicks.
I know you do.
I like Titanic. It's just not as good as everybody says it is.
Okay. Well, I think they like it more because of the storyline, not so much his performance. That's what I think.
Right, but I'm asking you as far as performances go.
Yeah, I'd say he was very good.
Do you like his work in this film better than you do in Titanic? Not necessarily the film, but what he brings.
I suppose I do. I mean, because in Titanic he was a romantic guy. You know, he was wooing Rose Calvin. Yes. But every girl wants to be wooed. Hey,
I just wooed you.
No, that's not how you woo.
Oh, okay.
I wooed you.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Anyway, it's a funny word, woo.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about dramatic performances, yes, he's better.
Would you recommend this film to anybody?
Again, it's one of those films where I would say at your discretion. But
there are some people who you could see suggesting it to.
Possibly. I don't know who that would be. Because it is a hard movie to watch. You would agree with me, right?
Oh, without question.
Right?
But it's good.
But it's harder. It's a harder movie to watch than The People versus Larry Flint. And I would imagine there's a lot of really disturbing visuals, but not quite as disturbing as this one, I think.
There's disturbing stuff in both movies. I like The People versus Larry Flint more, but this movie's really good.
I think The People versus Larry Flint more, I think it really causes somebody to think about it, about stuff. This does too, but in the Basketball Diaries does too, but in a different way.
Yes.
If that makes any sense.
It does. So you would recommend it to somebody?
I would, at their discretion.
At their discretion.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to say about the film?
I wonder why... So, I know you only see Jim's mom, but you don't see all the other guys' moms, right? You don't see Mickey's mom. You don't see Pedro's mom.
They make fun of his mom.
They make fun of Pedro's mom?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's about it. You don't hear about Mickey's?
No.
You don't hear about... you don't hear about them, except for Jim's mom.
And Neutron says hi to his mom when he's on TV.
Right. But that's it.
Well, here's a question that just popped into my mind that you kind of sparked.
What?
And there's no way of knowing this, but do you think Jim's mom saw the basketball game on TV? And if so, what do you think she thought of it?
If she did see it, because there's no way to know that you're right. If she did see it, she probably thought, oh, why, my son could have been great, but he's throwing his life away. He could have been a really good basketball player, but he just threw his life away. He's throwing his life away if he doesn't stop what he's doing. Yeah. And she probably would have wept.
Yes.
I would imagine, because of what her son could have become had he kept on playing basketball. Okay.
There's a question I want to ask, but I'm not sure if I should. I'll ask it anyways.
Oh, jeez.
At one point, she's praying for Jesus to look after her son.
Uh-huh.
She's a Catholic.
Actually, she was praying to Mary.
She's praying to Mary. We don't like Mary, but,
I never said that.
Okay, we do like Mary. She's cool. Mary's awesome. But what I want to know from you is, it seemed realistic to me that this lady would do that. And I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that something like that happened in real life for Jim. Since he grew up in a Catholic environment, it would be more Catholics. Do you think that helped him get through his difficult times?
That she was praying to Mary?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
And I think, because I have my own opinion about that, and I don't really want to go into it.
Okay.
But I will say, I don't know that praying to Mary would have helped him, but I think that the fact that he had to go through all that and, be in the rut that he was in and, be arrested outside of his mother's place, I think he had to go through that in order for him to be helped.
Nice.
I don't think that praying to a saint would have been beneficial. Nice. Yeah. But I again, that's my own opinion.
All right, that was a very interesting Juliette Lewis movie.
Yes, and we have another one to talk about, which is even different. It's different.
I would say right up front, spoiler alert, I liked the second movie, even though I think Basketball Diaries is better.
Yeah.
But there are some interesting choices made in the second movie, but overall I really liked it. So
okay, so let me give you a quick overview here. There's a young girl, I think she might have been between the ages of 12 and 13. Her name is Alice Bloom, played by Eliza Dushku.
Also known as Faith from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Which I'm not familiar with Eliza Dushku's work, but I heard she's good. So a very young Eliza Dushku. This is taking place, this is based on the year 1961, correct?
In Long Island, yes.
In Long Island, New York. Long Island. Alice lives with her mother and father. It is implied that her mother wants to get pregnant again. Can't do that right now. She's not having problems. She notices a girl and her mother living across the street. And if she's in her room, she can see across to the bedroom of Cheryl O'Connor, who's played by Juliette Lewis. There's a lot of people in her neighborhood that she hangs out with, Alice Bloom. She has the two boys. There's the Meyer twins, Mickey, and I don't know the brother's name. And then Catherine and Barbara are her friends. But she's kind of like this girl that's sort of, she's not popular. She's kind of...
She's a creepy kid.
She's kind of a creepy... I mean, you see that... You see that
as you go through
as you go through the movie. But we have to... I'm going to have to explain why she's creepy.
Okay.
So when Cheryl moves in, she starts watching Cheryl. What record she plays, what perfume she has, what hand cream she uses. And she notices a lot of the boys want to gather around her. And Cheryl's favorite saying is, "Hey now," which I don't know why she says that.
Well, there was this show called The Larry Sanders Show. Oh, this was made before that. I don't know why he's saying "hey now." Okay. But Larry Sanders popularized that term, and it's been used on the Howard Stern so many times since then.
Hey now?
Yeah.
Okay. So
he would start the show with playing clips from Hank from Larry Sanders saying "hey now" and just go "hey now, hey now." Anyways,
when did that show come out?
That came out in the 90s.
No, Larry Sanders?
Yes.
Larry Sanders?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know why she says "hey now." As soon as I said it, babes, I realized I said something stupid, which happens to me more than I would like to admit.
You put your foot in your mouth,
yes.
right?
Yes.
No, that's okay. I thought it was kind of interesting. So she notices that the boys gathered around her, and she gets noticed by this. I think this happened before the incident with her father, I believe. This and I'm kind of skipping around because there's a lot in the movie, but Cheryl O'Connor loses her father, and Cheryl is 17, loses her father. She's devastated. She cries to her mother, one day she ends up at a bowling alley, and Alice and her friends are there and see Cheryl. She ends up in a bowling alley and meets this guy, Rick, who is the one that rents shoes to people.
Yeah, so this happens the same night she finds out her dad died.
Yes.
And we should also say, sorry to interrupt you, that Alice had said that she had known Cheryl, and everybody's like, well, you should go up to her.
You should go and ask her.
As she's walking up to her, the cop walks in and pulls Cheryl aside and says, your dad died.
Yes.
Yeah, but keep going.
Yeah. And so she witnesses this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so she goes and gets the shoes. I think she goes back to her mother. And she does, I don't know what else she does, but she gets back. Cheryl is witnessing this whole thing. She goes back to the bowling alley. It's late. And it's about ready to close. Rick sees that she's upset because her father died. And
Rick, the guy from the bowling alley.
Yeah. And she's saying all these things, and he's saying all these things to her, and she's getting even more upset. And she decides to express her feelings on their PA system, right?
Mm-hmm. And you can record off of this PA
You can record off of it, and she's like, oh, this is really stupid. But she's recording what she's feeling onto vinyl, and she makes a record. And Rick and her decide that they're going to bury the record and open it, dig up the record in 50 years in 1999.
On July 4th. And July 4th. What I was doing on July 4th,
Yes, I'm sure you do, but we don't have to go there.
We're not allowed to talk about it because it involves an ex-girlfriend. Keep going, babes.
Mm-hmm. Who shall not be named.
No.
She's gone forever.
Yes.
Anyway.
She's not dead, just dead to me. Keep going.
Okay, good.
Yes. I'm sure she's fine. Keep going, babe.
She's going on with her life. Yes. Anyway, so Rick and Cheryl get pretty close. And from that night on, Alice wants to make a record and bury it. And I think she's actually, no,
she doesn't want to do that.
She doesn't want to do that yet. But she does see Cheryl on the way home and says, I'm really sorry about your father. Mm-hmm. This was on the same night that she goes to the bowling alley to see Rick. But she says, I'm sorry. And this is when they initially meet each other. Go on.
Up until now, our friend Alice is so obsessed with Cheryl. She listens to the music Cheryl listens to.
She has a perfume.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so she's really a creepy kid.
She really is.
But we'll get into that soon.
Yes.
So Cheryl and Rick, their relationship gets stronger. Cheryl's mom is concerned about this because, they're Catholic and...
Cheryl's only 17.
Yeah.
And it's implied that Rick is a much older guy, I think.
It's I don't know if I'd say that, but it's implied that he comes from the wrong side of the tracks.
Okay. I don't know. I thought he was creepy though, but that's just me.
Well, yeah, I think Alice is
Alice for sure is creepier, but I thought Rick was creepy.
Anyways, so the neighborhood gets upset because at one point Cheryl is like hardcore making out with Rick.
And possibly, having relations like out there in the open.
No.
Right?
No, that's what the kids think because they're dumb kids.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It wouldn't be hardcore by today's standards. But anyways.
Well, that's what they thought they were doing. I have to mention it.
Right. That's what they thought they were doing. They weren't.
Okay.
And the mom doesn't like him anyway. So at one point, she's basically grounded and made to live in her house. She's on sex probation, as I would like to call it.
Yeah, if that. Or kissing probation, whatever it is.
When they were in the midst of their kissing, the twin boys were trying to drag Alice over to talk to Cheryl. Because he kept talking about how well she knows her and they're best friends.
Yeah.
She kicks one of them, and her punishment is she has to go to their birthday party.
Yeah, because she kicks one of them in the crotch, right?
Yes.
And she's like, oh.
Okay. At the party, they're playing Spin the Bottle, and she's supposed to kiss one of the twins. She closes her eyes, and they put a frog in her mouth.
One of them puts a frog, yes.
Yes.
And she's mortified and runs home.
Yes. She runs into Cheryl, they hang out, and Cheryl's about to go home, and she says, Alice tells her, hey, listen, tell your mom you're babysitting me because my mom's gone.
My mom's gone, and she's like, babysitting? She's like, oh, that's perfect. Because then that gives her an excuse to go to see Rick.
Okay. They go and do their thing, and Cheryl says, hey, you should record your thoughts of this evening on a vinyl, and then we'll bury them together tomorrow. Alice comes over the next day, is downstairs on the front lawn screaming up to Cheryl, are we going to bury our vinyl today?
She said, no, not today.
I'm sick.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it over, Jaylo?
So she says, tell Rick that I promise I'm going to see him tomorrow night, but I have a bug, I'm sick. And so she tells him that, and I should say that time, I don't want to go too much into detail because time does go by.
Yeah.
And Cheryl finds out that she is in fact...
Oh, I just want to nod something, babes.
What?
You're banging on my thing, but it's right below the microphone.
I am sorry.
That's okay, keep going.
I didn't know that.
That's okay.
Well, okay, so time goes by, and it is found out that Cheryl is in fact pregnant. And her mother's upset. The whole neighborhood knows about it.
Alice wants her parents to adopt the baby.
Yeah. And her mother is thinking about having a baby, but she can't. She's not ready to because it's been a year since her son died.
Slightly after birth,
yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, she sees her... does she see her mother leave with Cheryl? She does, right?
I think so. I think she saw her mother leave with Cheryl or was mentioned. I don't remember which one.
But Alice's mother tells Alice that the reason why she's gone is her mother is pregnant, or Cheryl's pregnant, and her mother had to take her to a home for pregnant young women.
Alice tells Rick about this and says, listen, I know where she's staying. Cheryl gave me a letter. I ate it, but first I memorized all the details.
And then I ate it.
You're going to have to take me.
You're going to have to take me. It's like 325 miles.
Yeah.
And then I can get back home just in time. I'll come back. I'll come right back.
Only be gone for a couple of days. I'll say I hid behind the library.
and of course, that would not happen today.
No. But it is based in the 60s.
It is.
Hey
now.
So they go. Alice sneaks into the unwed mother's convent, talks to Cheryl, and gets her to agree to meet Rick later on that night at this time.
And wasn't there a lady who was saying, okay, go, you have to go.
Yeah, so she steals, I want to say it was cigarettes from Rick's glove compartment to bribe these ladies to sneak her in.
All right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. This kid does not quit.
I know.
Okay, there's this scene after that where Rick is waiting at this diner. Who comes in? Cheryl. She has a discussion. She breaks up with him, and he slides something across the table that's in a box that I believe is like an engagement ring. But
she doesn't break up with him. She's just saying, well, what are we going to do? I mean, are you going to go to school and then we get married or something, and then we split up after 2 years, and I can't go to Mexico with you?
It pretty much sounded to me like
she was going to break up with him?
That she was breaking up with him.
Oh.
Okay, he leaves the diner, and I'm thinking, okay, Alice must be in the back of the car, and they're going to drive home now. And then you see on the other side of the diner, Alice starts to be like, why did you do that? That's the part of the movie I start thinking to my kid, this kid is crazy.
And she's hiding behind the bar, right?
She's not hiding behind the bar, but she comes from an angle that looks like that's away from Alice, so we don't see her.
Okay.
Until after Rick leaves. This little kid is insane.
She's insane. Yes. She's really obsessed.
Yes.
I didn't realize how obsessed, because back when I watched it, I was only watching like parts of it, and I'm like, whoa, she's really cray-cray.
Yeah.
But she's only like 12. She's a dumb kid.
I was a dumb kid, and I never did anything like that.
I didn't do that either.
But I did other dumb stuff. So anyways, Alice has some exchange with her when she's like, hey, stop wearing my perfume. Don't listen to the same records that I listen to. And Rick takes Alice to the bus station.
Yep.
As she's leaving, That's a nice noise, bitch. What are you doing?
Oh, no, I had an itch.
Oh. She looks out of the back window of the bus, and Alice sees Cheryl coming to hug Rick. Mm-hmm. Comes back to her house. Things are good with the parents, and nobody knows where Cheryl and Rick are, but Alice gets a postcard from them from
Salt Lake City, Utah.
And they're saying that they're probably going to be headed west.
Okay.
And that's kind of the end of the movie. Oh, except the little boy who kissed her comes up and says, "Hey, I'm going to get this type of car one day, and I'll give you a ride if you want."
Spend some time, yeah.
And then she puts her hands together and she goes, "Hey, now."
Yeah.
I really like this movie, but the kid, you don't really see it at first. The longer it goes through, the more she creeps me out.
She's really... I mean, she was good at doing that, yes. But it was like, she never explained... She said it earlier in the movie that she wanted to be Cheryl for whatever reason. But she never explained why. She just said, well, it seemed to me like she thought maybe she had it all together, right? She was cool. The guys liked her. She was dating this guy. She was his steady. But she never explained exactly why, what started the obsession and all that. I wish she would have gone into it.
It's been 28 years since this movie came out.
Yeah.
And they'll remake anything in Hollywood, right?
Right.
If they ever remake this movie, I would be very interested to see it, but I would want to see it from a different angle. Like, I'd really want them to focus on how creepy this kid is.
Yeah. Really creepy, and how she wanted to run away with the both of them.
She freaked me out in this movie.
Yeah, I know, but she was good.
Yeah.
You have to admit she was very good at her role.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
If she creeped you out in the movie, that's a testament to how good she was, but she was creepy. I will say that. She was very, very creepy.
Like when she's telling Cheryl, my mom says we can adopt your baby, and that scene at the diner at the end, that really set it over the edge for me.
Right.
Like, this kid is just
she's insane. Yeah.
Yes.
I know. And I remember, I would hope that she learned a lot of lessons from that summer. Mm-hmm. Because it was only that summer that she met Cheryl and all this stuff happened.
What does this film teach us about obsession?
It can go way too far, way too quickly, if you don't control it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't pinpoint why you have this obsession, right? You don't pinpoint it, and if you don't know what the root of your obsession is, you can't fix it. And she just couldn't fix it. It just went out of control. I don't know why she wanted to run with these two.
No,
I just don't get it. What was she expecting them to adopt her?
Well,
I don't know.
At some point, I'm thinking in the beginning of this movie, she's going to get disillusioned with Cheryl. Mm-hmm. Cheryl's either going to blow up on her, or the boyfriend is going to do something to the kid, and Cheryl's not going to defend her, and she's just going to lose interest in Cheryl. Mm-hmm. But when it just keeps going, she never loses interest in her.
She doesn't. But she never explains why. Like, she never says, this is how it started. I know it started with her looking across the street.
Yeah.
But she never talks about the root, and she never says, I realized why I was obsessed with this girl. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be her, but here's why, right? But she never goes into it, and it would have been nice to be more focused on Alice instead of just Cheryl all the time. Cheryl. Or what would have been really interesting?
Yeah.
How to focus on, also to look at what angle Cheryl was thinking of with Alice, because she probably thought, this little girl.
I thought about that too. That would have been great.
This little girl is annoying me to no end. Why does she keep doing this? Why is she so interested in my life? Why does she want to run away with me and my boyfriend as if we could take care of her?
Right.
It's not like we could adopt her or anything.
I honestly think, babe, that she would have been happy to run away with just Cheryl and raise the kid with the two of them.
That's a little strange.
Without Rick.
Yeah, maybe. It's possible.
I think she sees Rick is my means to get to Cheryl. And once I've gotten to her, we're going to get rid of him.
I think maybe the root was that she didn't feel like she thought that Rick and Cheryl's love was the best example of what love should be.
No, but she was into Cheryl before Rick.
No, I understand that, but, you know, it heightened it when Rick came along, don't you think?
To some extent, but I wonder if it would have just been heightened anyway, if she would have just talked to Cheryl. You know what I mean?
I mean, she pretty much worshipped the ground she walked on.
Yeah.
It was really, really crazy. Mm. Yeah. Should have called it Crazy Alice instead of That Night. I don't know. Crazy Kid Alice. I don't know.
Yeah. She was great in this role, though.
She was great. That is a testament to how great she was. Yes. But she was definitely great.
Unfortunately, this film came out after the death of Alfred Hitchcock.
I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, it came out in 92. He died in 80. I would be interested to see, and we'll never know, but what he would have done with this material as a director. Mm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sure he would have accentuated the creepy parts of Alice.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't hear a lot about, I mean, you hear more about men being obsessed with women, right? Mm-hmm. And how women were trying to get away from the men, but you don't hear a lot about women obsessed with women.
And I think they did something really smart, because if it would have been somebody Alice's age, it would have been strange, but Alice probably would have defended herself more. Mm-hmm. So we would have seen a more visceral reaction. But because it's a little kid, it adds an element to
how creepy it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like why would a kid want to be obsessed with an older girl like that? Right?
Yeah.
Now, had it been the other way around, that would be even creepier, right? If Cheryl was obsessed with Alice.
Yeah.
But this is creepy enough. The creep meter is definitely off the charts with this one.
What does this film teach us about false idols?
Well, if I think about people as being idols, right? I think that because people can fail you a lot. We are designed to fail other people. We are not perfect, and we will fail people. And the person that we idolize, they can disappoint us. And I just don't think it's worth. I almost said worship. I don't think it's worth putting a person on a pedestal like that, because they can fall from grace just as much as the next person can.
There's a sense of longing from Alice's parents. They long for another baby. Uh-huh. And I want to know but they already have a daughter.
They already have a daughter, yeah.
What does this film teach us about being satisfied with what you have?
I think the mom is trying to hold things together, because not only does she's not sure about she wants to have another baby because of what happened with her last baby, but remember when she was talking to Alice about, why aren't they more affectionate with each other? Why doesn't how come you don't kiss like how Rick and Cheryl kiss, right? Yeah. And she basically told Alice, oh, well, we did, but you just get older. And I'm like, does it have to be that way? I don't think it has to be like that with her and her husband. Mm-hmm. But people just let it go after a while. And it's really sad to see that. They've lost their passion for each other. And because they've lost their passion for each other, it just starts to fizzle.
An obvious question would be, what happens to Rick and Cheryl?
I don't know that they're together for a long time. Maybe she has a baby, gives the baby up for adoption because she said she was going to. Mm-hmm. They're together for maybe a couple years, and then they split. I don't know that it was going to last.
But Alice has a new baby to take care of, who she enjoys because it's Cheryl's kid. You know what scene just popped into my mind, babe?
What?
The scene where Alice's dad takes her to the bowling alley and she freaks out on him.
Yeah, but he also freaks out too because remember he's keeping her away from Rick.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Which I kind of understand that.
I get that.
I get that because, Rick is. It's probably he's probably from the wrong side of the tracks. He probably did some things. We don't know much about his background. Yeah, it's interesting.
Let's talk about classism.
Okay.
They never use the word poor, but that's clearly implied that, Rick grew up in poverty. And I don't think that Cheryl's mom or Alice's parents are super rich, but they're well into middle class. What does this film teach us about poverty? What does this film teach us about class and how it can separate people?
Well, because you made a statement that Rick was probably from the wrong side of the tracks, and you could be right that the dad wanted to keep Alice away from her because, from him. I'm sorry, keep Alice away from Rick because of it, and not just because of it, but because of what happened with Cheryl, and because he was much older than her.
Yes.
But I think mostly it was maybe mostly the fact that he came from a poor background.
Because the dad never really knows him.
Yes, he doesn't want to know him. Yes. He just thinks that he's just a no good person.
Yes. Yeah. He's a no good Rick.
He's a no good Rick. Yes. He's low life Rick.
Low life Rick.
But you are not.
Thank you, babes.
You're welcome.
Thank you. What do you think of Cheryl's mom? Because she doesn't want her to have an abortion, but she doesn't want her to keep the kid. And then there's an interesting speech she gives when Cheryl runs out of the house about how, hey, listen, if you love Rick, you have to let him go. Tell me about what you think.
And he said that's what your daddy would have said. I think that the mom. Now, I wouldn't have grounded her and kept her in the house all day, right? Because, I think the mom was really going through a loss because not only did she lose her husband, but she's losing her daughter. She feels like she's losing her daughter to this Rick character, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, she feels like she's growing way too fast. She probably thinks, well, you don't love this guy, right? Or he doesn't love you, right? And if you really loved him, it's best that you just let him go now. And I honestly think she really does care about her daughter. And she probably doesn't know how to show it.
I guess there's an obvious question.
Okay.
But what do you think of Cheryl?
I think she's lost. I think she's very confused by a lot of things. She lost her father. She's pregnant. It sounds like this is maybe her first love. I think she just doesn't know what to do. And she's just wondering if her relationship with Rick is going to stand the test of time. I just think she's uncertain. It just seems like there's a level of uncertainty with her.
It's a pretty good movie. I would give it a 7 out of 10.
I would too.
Yes.
If it wasn't so creepy, I would give it a higher score with Alice. But,
right.
But she really is creepy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how creepy until I saw it last night. I'm like, ooh, yeah, she's creepy.
Why do you think? Let me rephrase this.
Yeah.
I am a film buff, as you know. That doesn't mean I see everything, but I've watched a lot of obscure films. I had not heard of this movie until you told me about it.
Yeah.
Why do you think more people don't talk about this movie?
I don't know why. Maybe the creepy factor with Alice? I don't think it's a very well-known movie.
No.
Yeah.
But you don't have a good reason for it.
I don't have a good reason for it. And I can't say why.
How did you see it?
When I was a kid, I didn't, and like I said, I don't believe I remember seeing the entire movie, but I did think she was creepy. I didn't think she was like super creepy at the time. Yeah. But I did think she was a little bit obsessed, yes.
So somebody may have added it on in the background, and you saw portions of it.
We watched. I think it was on HBO. The where you would have movies on all day. Yeah. I think it was on HBO, and we just watched it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's where that's how I found Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael.
That's a great movie.
It's a great movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about that night?
I would still recommend people to see Eliza Dushku in action in this movie because as creepy as her character was, she was very good.
Oh, she was great in this movie. Yes. And I kept thinking, I know this kid somewhere. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out, of course, she's Faith. You got to know Faith.
And was she an evil vampire?
No, she was a vampire slayer. Yeah, you haven't watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. No. She's a vampire slayer who sometimes she's good, sometimes she's bad. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Yes. But yeah, Eliza Dushku in That Night.
Worth checking out.
See
a creepy kid.
Yeah, if you can get past the creepiness, and the music was really good.
I like the music. I would like to hear a soundtrack.
The music was great. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Very good. Check it out.
Jaylo. Yes.
What self-love practices do you plan to do over the next 5 days?
That's a good question.
If any.
That I don't know, actually. I haven't even thought about that. What are you going to do?
I want to do some more experimenting with cooking. You and I have talked about me doing some cornbread, which I've never made before. But as you do know, I like baking bread.
Yes. And I would try it.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'm going to experiment with that.
Good.
I just want to spend more time doing creative things in the kitchen this week.
I thought about something, actually.
Tell me.
I told you that I was wanting to study more on flute techniques since I can't study with I can't go to any flute teacher right now.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a good time to do it. I really want to study my craft, not just perform, but to study it, because there's so many things I don't know that I want to know more about. And I want to know how that goes. After I finish 1984, which I need to get back into, I do want to see if I can find some good books on flute technique. And maybe put them to practice, see if I can try it.
That would be awesome, babes.
Yes, that'll get me into really getting back into practicing regularly, I think. Yes. Because I need to do that. I really do.
Well, good.
Yes, that is something I need to do.
Yeah, you're banging on my stomach, but I don't mind, okay? Keep banging.
No, I'm sorry, but I was just...
Oh, babes, I don't mind when you bang me.
You realize what that sounded like, right?
Yeah, I don't mind when you bang me.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't mind being banged by Jaylo. Oh. Give me a kiss. I just realized, babe.
What?
We have had no discussion about what movies we're going to watch next week.
I know we haven't, but I'm sure we'll talk about it after this, right?
We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas, or do you need time to digest?
I was kind of thinking of watching like some, like maybe a couple of romantic things. I don't know, on Valentine's Day, and I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe some Julia Roberts stuff. I mean, we've both seen Pretty Woman, so we don't have to see that. But She does some other movies too.
We'll see about Julia Roberts. There are other romantic stars.
There is other romantic stuff, yes.
Are you playing with something there, Jaylo?
Oh, it's just my basket.
Oh my goodness. Is that what they're calling it these days?
The box, yeah.
The box.
A box.
You're playing with your box.
No. No, it's a container that I use to put stuff in.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Not what you're trying to allude to, Bush.
Oh.
Shame on you, Bush.
Shame on you there, Jaylo.
Innuendo Rick.
Oh my goodness. Jaylo.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any dreams last night?
I did not. I didn't even dream about creepy Alice.
That's good.
Oh my. It's quite funny.
You know what an interesting sequel might have been, babes?
What?
It's like 4 years later, Alice can now drive, and now she's searching the country for Cheryl and Rick.
Alice, 2021.
Well, yeah, that's too far in the future.
Okay, too far in the future.
You'd want to make it like Alice 1965.
1965, yeah.
It's interesting. Both films we watched last night not only had Juliette Lewis, but were based in the 60s in New York.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Interesting.
What do you think about the idea of a setting as a character in a film?
What, oh, you mean like the
place where it's meant to be at? So, like,
okay, I'm confused.
This is going to be an odd thing to say because you haven't seen the movie, but Midnight Cowboy stars Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
And you can make an argument that the city of New York is the third role in the movie.
Interesting. Yeah, I never thought of it. Yeah. You know, I'm surprised now that you're saying that the Basketball Diaries was set in the 60s.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't play any 60s music.
Yeah, but I think that they wanted it to be darker, and it's also a lower budget movie.
Okay.
So it's harder to get music rights.
Really?
To like Motown and that type of stuff.
Okay. I loved the music in that night. That was great.
Really, really good stuff.
Yes.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah, this is great. I love a movie with good music.
I do too.
Yes.
Jaylo.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to say? The Super Bowl weekend.
Yes.
Not that matters.
It doesn't matter to us because we're not really
sports
people. But if I was invited to a Super Bowl party, I would go just to be with friends, but I wouldn't care so much about the teams because I don't have a team.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a couple of. I've been to like a get together and I watched a Super Bowl with a friend of mine, but you know, it's not like I'm not like a part of the hype where I'll be so upset if my team doesn't win, or I know people that are like that, like they'll have a really bad day because their team lost or whatever.
I don't get
like
that.
That's ridiculous. Yes. There's so many other things that you can be really upset about, but that's not one of them. Mm-hmm.
Well, you can be upset about whatever you want to, but it feels kind of petty.
I will say that Super Bowl food, like if you go to somebody's house and they have like hors d'oeuvres and stuff, they're pretty good.
Yeah. Very good.
Yes.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, I think we should kiss. Yeah. Well.
Oh, goodness.
All right, I think we're good, babes. If you're good, I am.
I am good. And what number is this episode?
I don't know, like, I want to say either 123 or No, it's either going to be like 124 or 125, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, I think that is all.
All right.
Happy weekend.
Happy weekend, even if you hear this on a weekday.
That's right. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye-bye. 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 Say hi to Cheryl.